So, hi, this is Daniel. I made a video on Canzuk a while back, but at the time I had been to Canada, UK, and Australia, and I had lived in Canada, the UK, and Australia, but I had never been to New Zealand. And guess what? I'm in New Zealand right now. So, this being the fourth part, so to say, of Canzuk, I guess it would be useful, I guess, for me to make another video. And I think my feelings on Kanzo kind of changed a little bit. Uh, I don't think it's ever really going to happen, to be honest. Uh, I'm looking for the lava's uh, walk here. I think I might try to sneak my way in. But yeah, I don't think Kanzo is actually ever going to happen. To clarify, every single thing that Kanzo proposes is already de facto going on in Australia and New Zealand. So like New Zealand and Australia citizens, they're virtually each other's country's citizens as well. Like you can uh, just move permanently for whatever reason, and you don't need to explain yourself, and there's no visas, and you entitled to welfare and social security. And if you move from New Zealand to Australia, they don't consider that you left New Zealand. Like there's so many things that like just the thing between New Zealand and Australia that you could say that Kanzuk's objective is just to include in the relationship that already exists between New Zealand and Australia, also Canada and the UK. Like so that's pretty much Kanzuk's objective. And uh there's been weird stuff going on now in early 2025 with like Trump uh threatening to like annex Canada and all that. And I think that's just honestly going to make Canada want to be more fiercely independent. But also some comments from the other video I did and I made and I shot and I posted just mentioned how in fact Canada is just in this weird in between where it's actually closer to the US in many like not only geographically but in many political senses as well. And it's very unlikely that Canada would join such an union. And then the UK, I think it's a little more likely. Right now, UK citizens until the age of 35 can apply for 3 years of working holiday in Australia without even having to do farm work. Uh, and they're the only, uh, that's the only country where citizens of that country can do that. Most countries either don't have a working holiday, or it's just 230, or it's just 230, and you have to do the farm work. So there's more limitations. So it is a move in direction of freedom of movement, but it's a very small move in the grand scheme of things. Oh, there you go. I found Lover's Walk over here. Sweet. Yeah, it's a very small move in the grand scheme of things. Uh, there's a lot that still needs to happen for the UK, Australia, and New Zealand to have proper freedom of movement, and Canada is just nowhere in that picture. It's just a regular working holiday, and like that is it. Obviously, they're four very similar nations. They remain similar. They remain close. Will Canzuk actually ever happen? I don't think so. Now, thinking that it wouldn't happen or that it won't happen is different than thinking that it shouldn't happen. And being here in New Zealand, I just view like it is clearly different from Australia. It is so similar to Australia. And Canada and the UK are also fairly similar. Like the level of integration that UK people in general have in this area, like in New Zealand and Australia, is amazing. You have pubs, and you have English as a native language, and the accents obviously are different. But I'd say UK accent is more similar to Australian New Zealand than it is to like American accent, for example. You could debate that, but whatever. I feel like Kanzuk would be a very interesting possibility. It would be really cool if all the countries, once they get into Canzuk, they all adopt like a black passport, like a New Zealand passport. Because come on, how awesome would it be to have a black passport, you know? But again, so unlikely. If it happens, it's going to be very gradual, and within the next 10 to 20 years. I think there was more movement, to be honest, around 2015, 2016, 2017, around this movement, because Brexit had just happened, than there is now, honestly. Because now, integration is not a goal. Like explicitly, it's not a goal. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 25 years ago, countries wanted to be more integrated, whereas now all the talk uh, that goes on in political spectrum is about less integration, more nationalism, more tariffs. So probability that a union that hasn't even happened yet is going to thrive in this sort of political scenario is unfortunately very, very small. But yeah, like I said, I want to come and live in New Zealand. Actually, I want to do a little ski season here. I lived in the UK when I was a kid. I lived in Canada when I was a teenager, and then I'm living in Australia now, working holiday, and obviously very different context, but still great countries overall, and definitely different than the US, I'd say. Definitely different from the US. So, yeah, there's that. This is a nice little path, but this is why I think Canzuk is probably never going to happen.